Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the PTSM podcast. Today, I'm joined by Kaylah McPhee. Kaylah, hello.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going well. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm going okay, getting there.
Sitting there in a sling.
Yeah.
I love the dedication of still being willing to sit here and chat with me. Talk to me a little bit about what's happened.
I've had a bad shoulder for like the last probably 9 months, and it's been a bit of a tough one because we weren't really sure what was going on. And I've been doing a lot of rehab, had scans, nothing was showing up. And then just recently, 2 weeks ago, I had a scope put in my shoulder, and then they kind of discovered I had a torn labrum. So they've anchored that to the bone in two places. And yeah, now I'm in a sling for 6 weeks, and it's going to be a bit of a long road back for me.
No, it sure will, and I'm sure we'll touch on it. It's probably one of the key themes that I like to talk about in these episodes. Obviously, adversity is probably something that everyone goes through at some point, particularly when you're in a profession and especially as an athlete. So we'll surely touch on that. And where are you based at the moment? Are you in miserable Melbourne like me?
No, luckily I'm in sunny Brisbane.
Okay. Yeah, no, we do have sun today, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it's who would have thought Melbourne is the most livable city in the world, and then just like that, it can become one of those places that nobody wants to be in.
Oh, I know it's absolutely awful, and I have so many like family and friends there, and it's a bit sad and tough at the moment. But I'm really hoping that you get back on your feet and everyone will be out and about soon.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So let's start with you, and let's begin. So 22 years old,
Yep.
still so fresh. The highest ranking that you've reached as far as what I can see. So 199 at 22. It's a great achievement, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like you're on this journey for more. I've seen a few quotes that you've had out there, and I want to talk to you a little bit about. Maybe we should go from the beginning. When do you make the decision to say, hey, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I mean I guess it's a tough question to answer because I've been playing tennis competitively ever since I was quite young, but I suppose when you are quite young, you don't really understand, that it can be a profession and that's all you do. So I think the moment when I kind of committed to that would have been when I was about 17. Um, that's when I started like traveling the world like full time and committing to that as my career. So I think that's when I was really sure about it.
Yeah. Why tennis? How does tennis get to you? Where does it begin there?
Well, my parents put in a tennis court at home for themselves because they love tennis, and I guess that's probably a big reason why. Like, I think I just kind of played a bit when I was younger, like when I was probably five or six. I wasn't like heaps into it,
Yep.
and it gradually grew on me, and I've been involved in tennis ever since, really.
Yep. No, fair
Yeah.
enough. I had this same conversation with Lewis Holland. It was, he didn't picture himself traveling the world and playing rugby and playing for Australia and things like that. And it's always interesting when, something that you do as a kid, which I guess we do a lot as kids because we love to do it for its natural sort of enjoyment. And then once it becomes a career, it's a whole different story. It's a business, and there's
Yeah.
opportunities and there's conversations, and I'm always interested to know a little bit about that transition from, hey, this is what I really enjoy doing. It's a hobby, and it's where I'm at my happiest, to, okay, this is now how I'm going to make a living. So what
Sure.
has been some of the adjustments that you've had to make along the way?
Um, well, yeah, so it kind of went from like a hobby, when you're probably up to about 12, 13, and then it became something that I really wanted to excel at. But, in terms of like, you're not getting paid or anything, but you just, whatever I do, like I want to do well.
Yeah.
So it's always meant so much to me, and I've always had the highs of the winning and then the lows of losing. Um, but yeah, like everything did change when, you're doing it also to earn income, and it can be stressful when you're starting to wonder, oh my gosh, like how am I going to have enough money to travel the rest of the year? So I feel like the relationship does change a little bit, because you are, it's not just I really badly want to win just to win. It's also I want to win because I need that money or I need that ranking. Those things kind of pollute the love a little bit. And
Yeah.
I think for me, like, I just have to keep reminding myself of how I used to feel towards it, and just remember that. And, like, of course you have to focus on, the ranking and the income so you can keep playing. But yeah, above all else, it's really just remembering why you're playing and why you're doing what you're doing. If that
Yeah,
answers the question.
no. It makes total sense, and it's a really good point. And I think the way you explained it, sort of polluting, it's in a sense it really is.
Yeah.
And so do you find for yourself, if you're not playing for the pure enjoyment of it, you're not playing at your best?
I feel like it changes the way you are emotionally,
Right.
and you get too wound up, or like off court. I'm stressing about things. I'm stressing about my ranking and stressing about which tournaments I can play, and sort of the stuff that really shouldn't be focused on that much, rather than focusing on, oh, I'll focus on whatever it is that I need to fix in my game. You're starting to focus on just the points and just the ranking. And I feel like that also, when you're playing a match, you're carrying the weight of too many things. It's about the points, it's about the money, and it's about the love and the passion. And I want the winning and all of that just to be about the passion, and I don't want it to be about the other things, because I feel like that's not as pure as a motive, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah,
not me.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So it's an interesting one, because for most, 22, you're still so young. You've achieved the highs that you've achieved thus far. I was reading a quote that you were talking about how you don't want to just settle with, what I just said. Oh, she's a good player. She might lose a game. She might challenge one of the top players, and then that's going to be okay. And that's what I really want to dive deep with you here now. It's just that mindset. So when did that confidence come to you, where you sort of decided, hey, no, I want to be the best, and that's
Yeah.
not going to, like, settling is not going to be okay anymore?
I think I was probably about 17, 18 when I had a little bit of a breakthrough. I
Okay.
always, I always knew I was a good player, but I didn't ever believe that I was a great player. And I carried maybe a bit of a chip on my shoulder. Like, I didn't quite, I wasn't accepted into the National Academy at a young age. So I always kind of wondered why not. And I did struggle with that. And I think it affected my confidence. And then I kind of, you have that sort of oh, I'm playing this girl and she's so good. So if I lose to her, I don't have anything to be really upset about. So you're kind of preparing yourself that it's okay to lose to that person. So I've kind of erased that and thought, I'm not going to be happy just to lose to this person because of they've done ABC. Like, I want to, if I lose and I do all the right things, that's okay. But I don't want to just like roll over before I've even gone out there.
Totally, totally. It's that winning mentality, and tennis is an interesting sport. It's the people that I've spoken with so far on the podcast come from team sport backgrounds, and I know that you do have a team. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into your preparation before you play a
Sure.
match, because you have coaching and all sorts of things off the court. But once you get onto the court, it's just you
Yeah.
versus the other player, unless you're playing in doubles. So
Yeah.
talk to me about your evolution as a person who's accountable for everything. And I guess you have to when you start playing tennis. You've got no one else to really lean on in game. So
Yeah.
how has that evolution happened for you?
Well, I think that you just really have to learn to understand yourself and the way you're feeling, and how to pick yourself up when there's no one else there to pick you up. Because although most of the time, I have either great friends around me or a coach or loved ones that are going to watch me competing, sometimes you have no one, and you are literally playing a match and you're on struggle street, and there is no one, you look out in the who's watching, no one that cares for you. And that is a feeling that's pretty scary at first, but once you're put in that position over and over again, you kind of work out how to bring yourself up without relying on that. So I feel like for me, I've learned a lot about myself, and when I'm starting to freak out or I'm starting to get upset or, whatever it is, just how to calm myself down. And I've done a lot of work like off court, working on, okay, notice like what's happening and then put in whatever it is, put your towel over your head or do a little meditation between change events, just things that you know how to calm yourself down. And in the same way, I'll write down things to motivate me if I'm, in the third set and I'm so tired and I'm just wishing, oh gosh, I just want to get off court. And then you read something, and I listen to Eric Thomas. He has a motivational podcast, and
Yep.
I love listening to his things, and it gets me really like amped up. And so I write down a couple of things of his, and yeah, so it's like it's an independent sport, as you know, and I'm grateful for that. I like being out there by myself and handling it all, and win or lose, you feel like you've accomplished something.
I can't help but feel like it's one of the better sports to prepare you for life.
Yeah.
You have to take ultimate accountability for everything that happens, and obviously, in the real in sort of in life, you might have a partner who you can sort of lean on and things like that. But ultimately, really, how well you do or how not well you do is for the most part in your control. So I can't
Yeah,
help but feel
it's
there's a
all on you.
relation. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
wonder how it is in team sports. Like, that would be such a foreign thing to, if you, at least in tennis, like if I play poorly, I'm not letting anyone else down. So, other than myself, and, maybe I feel like I let my team down. So, I like it in that respect, because if I play doubles, I have a sense of that feeling of, oh, wow, I really want to do well for myself, but also for my partner. So, I am grateful that singles, I don't have that added stress.
yeah, for sure. I want to talk a little bit about the journey of traveling and playing and away from tennis. So obviously, it's I guess, one of the perks of being on tour. You get to move around a lot. What are some of the highlights for you from where you've traveled and cultures you've experienced and things like that that stick in your mind?
I would say probably 2019, last year, was when I did my most traveling of different places, because before that I'd really just gone to Asia,
Yep.
just budget wise. So I really enjoyed going to Canada. I think that's my favorite place that I've visited, Vancouver. And it helps that, like, when you go and stay places, you are usually with your best friends. So, like, when I think of places, I think of the things that we did off court that were fun. And I also loved England and going to Wimbledon. Like, I didn't actually go to the site of Wimbledon. It's like the qualifying site, but I'd never been to Europe before, actually, which is quite unusual for a tennis player. But I went to Europe for the first time a couple of weeks before I played in the Wimbledon qualifying. And then also going to America was pretty cool. I was like, wow, this is so, like, because obviously I know so much about America and my brother lives there, but I'd never been there before. And I really liked it there. And then
Yeah.
also, you really can't go past Thailand. That is one of my favorite places to go. I absolutely love it there, and I've been there quite a few times.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. It's very interesting. Similar with Lewis Holland as well. Just the ability to sometimes get out of Australia and see what's out there. It almost makes you fall in love with Australia a little bit more.
Yeah.
You realize exactly how good you hear about it. You know how good we have it here, but when you go elsewhere and you pick up things. And I don't think I've ever traveled anywhere and met someone overseas who hasn't, when I tell them I'm from Australia, who hasn't responded with oh wow, with real intrigue.
Yeah, well, the most that I've ever got that is when I went to India.
Right, yeah.
Everyone was like, wow, Australia is so amazing. And I was like, yeah, it is actually.
Yeah,
That was actually a really cool experience going to India. I've been there a couple times as well, and it's yeah, it's very eye opening, no doubt. I'm definitely glad that I had that experience.
for sure, for sure. Those are the ones that'll shape you for years to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about obstacles and challenges and sort of getting through them. You're going through one right now, obviously with the injury. Um,
Yes.
what is your process? And obviously, it's probably going to evolve over the next 5, 10 years anyway. But at the moment, it's very interesting with you because at your age, most people at your age haven't been thinking about these things from a professional standpoint. So you've had to really grow up and learn things pretty quickly, it would seem. So what's your process around overcoming obstacles and things like that?
Sure. Well, I feel like like at least at the moment, I feel like a grieving process is in order. I
Yeah,
feel like I need to stop telling myself what to feel
yep.
and stop letting other people tell me what to feel, because everyone wants to try and make you feel better, but sometimes you don't want to feel better, sometimes you just want to feel a bit sad or a bit frustrated or angry. And I feel like that just like freedom to feel is so important for me, because then I'm just me. I'm
Hmm.
not trying to be anything or force anything. So I'm only 2 weeks into this last, surgery, and I'm sure that I've got a long way to go. But yeah, this first couple of weeks it's been tough, and it's hard to see, regardless of whether people are playing or not playing. I don't get to do what I love, and it is something that I have to grieve a little bit. And I was just watching a match that I played a couple years ago earlier, and I was just like, oh, I was just in tears. I was like, oh, I wish I could do that again. But then I think there's going to be a point where I've got to pick myself up and start. And that's why I watch those matches, to keep that fire in my belly, because I want to come back, and I don't want to let this defeat me.
Hmm.
So you just got to stay resilient. Over like my the last 10 years, I've had to have a lot of resilience in this sport, because it is tough. And not just through injuries, just through disappointments and setbacks of any kind. But I think it's important to just let yourself feel. And then when you feel like feeling better, then you can get back on the horse and get back out there. And I'm sure that I will do that. I had a foot surgery last year, which I kind of struggled with that a little bit as well. But yeah, it doesn't take long before you just get back to where you were, and then you'll be thinking, oh yeah, I had that shoulder surgery when I was around 22, or so. I'm kind of like reminding myself that it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you probably, well, definitely. I mean, you have everyone wants, as a human nature, everyone wants to feel good and feel better. So I think you hit the nail on the head. You've got to let yourself feel what you've got to feel. At the end of the
Yeah,
day, like you said, you're not doing what you'd love to be doing day to day. But you also have that trust in yourself to know, well, hey, this is just what I'm feeling for now.
yeah,
I'm a little pissed off because I can't play, and that's
yeah,
natural. I'm supposed to be pissed off,
yeah,
otherwise, it doesn't actually hurt. So
yeah,
I think you hit the nail on the head there, and I think oftentimes, yeah, I think sometimes the external noise can try and dictate what we should be doing and feeling and whatnot. So it's really pleasing to hear you say, I just want to feel bad at the moment. And it's not like you're giving up on your career or anything like that. It's just, you got to get used to the fact that, you're in a sling and it's a bit annoying.
yeah. Well, exactly. I have a whole nother month of this, and there's not really anything that I'm meant to be doing, I'm doing what I have to be doing, but it doesn't mean that I have to have a smile on my face the whole day,
Hmm.
which I certainly haven't. But yeah, I don't know. I listened to this really good podcast a few weeks ago, and it was all about being okay with the way that you're feeling. And ever since I've kind of taken that on board, I've noticed such a big difference. And then you don't have that anxiety of thinking, crap, I'm not feeling good, and I should be feeling good, and everyone's telling me I should do this and that. And then because you're worrying about feeling bad. So at least I don't have that.
No, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me. You've spoken a little bit about influencers and podcasts. What were the guiding, or I guess the ones that stand out to you? What were the guiding influences for you in your life up until this point, in any facet? Ones that really stick out.
Well, I would have to say my parents. Like, my parents have shown me an endless amount of support ever since I was here. Like, they are my absolute inspiration. They work incredibly hard, and they had to sacrifice a lot for me to start my tennis career. You know, there's countless amount of lessons, and my mum used to come and travel with me, and support me financially before I could support myself. So definitely, like, I feel inspired by them. And my dad used to play A grade cricket as well. So he is a massive inspiration to me. And I feel like a lot of my any mental toughness that I have, I feel like I've kind of learned off him in a way, because he has set such a good example for me, and has always, my parents are always there for me, and when I win or lose, and that's really important, I feel. And then, yeah, in recent years, just like, I have a boyfriend who's amazingly supportive, and yeah, same thing, doesn't care if I win or lose. He just wants me to be happy. And I have, great best friends, and I feel like in times like this, everyone's, sending me little gift packages and making me feel special, and just letting me know that they care and that I'm still important, because as athletes, we can kind of feel like our importance revolves around how we perform, and it's nice to know that that's not true, and that's just a bit silly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I really appreciate how you've mentioned, three people who are not, I guess, other athletes is what I'm getting at. I think
Oh,
that,
yeah.
well, obviously you would take inspiration from some of your favorite players growing up and things like that. But yeah, like I said before, this you are a human, and I like how you touched on that, and how sometimes your worth can seemingly be only that of what you do on the tennis court or in your throughout your career. But it is important to know that you have a support network around you and a system around you, and people who want to actually support you for the person.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the most important thing, because that takes off all of the pressure of thinking that, oh, my self-worth revolves around that. And I think I read something like, you should never revolve your self-worth over something that can be taken away in an instant. And that, I mean, tennis can be taken away in an instant, and I don't feel like my self-worth has disappeared at all because of the amazing people I have around me. But yeah, it's definitely, I didn't used to know that. It's like, I've learnt that over time with setbacks and all sorts of things. And no matter what happens, like, everyone's still there for you. And then you kind of, yeah, you start to actually believe it, which is
Yeah,
really nice. Yeah.
yeah. You touched on before not getting too worked up about something, and knowing how to sort of pull your own levers, so to speak.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, those principles of equilibrium. You never let yourself get too high. You never let yourself get too low.
Yeah.
Um, when was the last time you had to really rein yourself in? And I guess what I'm trying to look for here is the last lesson you had.
The last lesson I had, um, I would probably say the last time I felt like that would have been in August last year.
Hmm.
I was going through a bit of a rough period, and I was on a bit of a losing streak. I'd lost like 7 out of 8 matches, and I was starting to really get annoyed. And yeah, I was just getting so frustrated on court that it was just taking away from my game. And then I just like had to just like snap my fingers and say, just stop that. Like, that is not helpful. And you're not even you know what I mean? Like, sometimes tennis players get really angry, and it's just like, if you're on the sideline, you're thinking, oh, but once you've experienced it, you understand it. But it's kind of a matter of like saying, if you are really upset about losing, or you're really angry, think about whether your response is actually helping you or hindering you. And the truth is that you're getting upset about not doing well, and you're responding with something that's going to make you do even worse. So for me, that was a massive, like, yeah, I kind of gave myself a bit of a kick up the butt and say like that is not cool, like just stop that. So I think that was probably like a big turning point for me.
Yeah, that's good. Your high performance habits. I like to talk about them with everyone here. And what are some of the non-negotiable habits and behaviors that you for yourself from your own learnings in your life that you have to be performing?
So sorry, do you mean like in tournament mode, like what sort of preparation or
All around.
all
So
that?
how you carry yourself, what you do, whether it's tournament mode or life mode, your personal high performance habits.
Right. Well, I obviously, when I'm not in a sling, I'm always training. Like regardless of, if I lose a match, win a match, whatever, you're still doing all the right things. And my coaches tell me what sort of training that I should do. And I have always had the feeling that if you're going to do something, you obviously have to do it to the best of your ability or
Mm-hmm.
just don't do it. So I guess with training, always putting in 100%. And if for whatever reason you just aren't ready to do that, then just don't step on the court or don't get in the gym. Because I feel like it's important to keep that discipline. And then obviously, all the sort of stretching and the what we call body management, which is to stop injuries. um, and then like eating healthy, getting enough sleep. Yeah, I mean, I think I like to live a pretty healthy lifestyle, and I don't find it difficult to train all the time because I really enjoy training, and it's something that I wish I could do right now because yeah, I think just staying all around super healthy and obviously not drinking too much alcohol or anything like that. I feel like I have a pretty professional approach in that sense. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. What do you want to achieve? I guess have you thought about what you want to do with your life? I mean, you've sort of building yourself a platform here, and it's a hard question because a lot of us, um, you know, particularly when you're an athlete, you know what you're focusing on in your career. But have you thought beyond that? Have you thought about that as a at a high level?
Yeah. My rough plan would be to finish my tennis career, and then I would love to open up a tennis center with my partner. We've kind of had made loose plans of doing that. I'm actually doing a coaching course, a junior development coaching course at the moment, so I
Yep.
can get qualified as a coach. So yeah, that's kind of a dream of mine because I want to stay, in tennis like after I retire, because obviously it's been such a massive part of my life, and I really enjoy coaching kids and kind of just like making tennis like a really happy thing for people, and hopefully, I think it would be a shame not to help some, young girl, but go through what I went through. If I can say anything just to help with it, I'd love that. And then obviously just start a family. I would love that, and not not in the near future, but in 10 years or so. And then
Yeah.
hopefully run a tennis center. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, I enjoy that. I enjoy that. I think it is important to give back. And do you have who do you have at the moment? I guess from your point of view, and at this point in your career, that helps guide you. Is it just family? Is it someone else?
Yeah, I think family and obviously like my coach helps me with all things tennis related, but I guess like my like life plan would probably be my partner.
Yeah,
We've been together for like 6 years, so I'm kind of, as tennis players, we can be kind of selfish, but when you have a partner, like you can't only think about yourself. So yeah, I'm kind of planning that we'll do that later in life and have a business together. And I feel like yeah, it's good to have somebody who you can talk to, and someone that has your best interest at heart, and you have their best interest at heart, and you can kind of just do life together. And that really makes me feel secure in knowing that no matter what happens with my tennis career, that I'm always gonna, I'm gonna have a life, whatever it's in, I'm gonna have a happy life. So yeah, if that answers that question.
yeah, definitely. I think
Yeah.
also, I mean, you look at the times we live in now. Everything's gone from. We all make these grand plans for ourselves and what we think we're going to be doing and hope to be doing, and then, obviously the situation we're in with the pandemic, it has made life very, like, you have to be fluid. You have to be able to adjust on the fly, and not necessarily your goals and ambitions, but just your day to day has to adjust. So, is that something you have dealt with pretty well, or is that something you are still learning to grapple with?
Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like I handled it okay, because I have spent so much time at home that I never in a million years would get. Like, I think as a usual thing as a professional tennis player, you spend about 2/3 of the year away from home, and then you'll come home for 2, 3 week periods, 1 week here, 1 week there. So the fact that I've pretty much been home for like 8 months now, like I think I haven't struggled with that as much as other people have, because I'm around my family and loved ones and all my friends. So I'm actually quite content in that sense. Um, I think this whole, pandemic hasn't affected me that much, because I would be home doing exactly what I'm doing, regardless of whether coronavirus was around or not.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be at training right now regardless. So yeah, it's a bit different. But in saying that, I definitely go a bit stir crazy, and but then again, I also feel like I've spent a lot more time with, like, just like friends that you never really get to catch up with. So yeah, in a way, like, it hasn't really been that tough for me. So it's, yeah, I don't know.
No, that's good.
Selfishly, I haven't really struggled that much in that sense.
That's good. That's good news.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's been fun. I've really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed meeting you, and opening up a little bit and understanding you on a deeper level, not just as a professional athlete, but more so as a human. And you really embody the values, of someone who really understands themselves as a person first before an athlete, and that's something that I can't help but feel is going to hold you in good stead. So I want to again thank you so much for your time,
Yeah.
and I wish you all the best with recovery, and really looking forward to seeing you back out there.
Thanks. Thanks so much for having me on. I really enjoyed our chat, and I really appreciate that, and I take that as a compliment. That, yeah, it's really been good talking and
Love
meeting
it.
you.
You have
Okay.
a great day.